Crossovers just keep coming for NXT and TNA. Where is it all headed, and is it working? I'm sure you have some thoughts, and so do I, so
let's talk about it.
Well, hey, thanks for stopping by the Rumble Rewind channel. My name is Brandon, and today we are talking about NXT and TNA, all of the crossovers that are happening between the NXT brand of WWE and TNA Wrestling. Before we dive into that, though, do me a quick favor, scroll down below this video, hit that like button for me, and while you're down there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications, because I know you're going to love it, and that way you never miss out on an upload from Rumble Rewind. We're getting closer and closer to our first goal of 200 subscribers. When we get there, we're giving away some CM Punk gear. Want you to be eligible, and the only way to do that is to hit that subscribe button. All right, let's dive in. I would love to know your thoughts on the TNA NXT crossovers. Let's talk about where we've been with this so far. The first TNA crossover to happen was obviously Jordynne Grace challenging Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at Battleground. We got to see Jordan on a couple of episodes of NXT leading up, and then ultimately Roxanne Perez would beat her at Battleground thanks to some outside involvement with Tatum Paxley and TNA star Ash by Elegance, aka or FKA rather, Dana Brooke. All of that created some confusion. Roxanne was able to retain the championship. If you didn't see it, check out my video here. I'll tell you all about it. It's been a little bit though, so there's been some more things that have happened since then. Now after that, we would have a #1 contenders battle royal for Trick Williams' TNA championship at the time. And we would get two competitors in that battle royal from TNA, Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian. Now, Joe Hendry is a big star. Everybody's talking about him. It's a very viral theme song that's quite fun and interesting. But those two guys would be in this battle royal. They would both get eliminated, not win, not move on. And then they would just kind of move on with their lives, right? Well, this past week on NXT, things really kind of began to pick up on this side of things. We would see the Rascals, or former teammates of Wes Lee. They would come out, convince him not to leave NXT, and later we would find out that next week on NXT, they're going to have a 6-man tag match against Gallus. Now, in addition to that, we would get another appearance by Joe Hendry, and later in the night of the same episode, which you can check out right here if you didn't see that, he would team with Trick Williams to take on the team of Shawn Spears and Ethan Page, and they would win the match in a feel-good moment to end the show. Now on the other side of it, for TNA, as far as I'm aware, because I don't watch TNA all the time, I know that Tatum Paxley did make an appearance and challenge Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship. Izzy Dame just did the same thing recently. And I believe that Charlie Dempsey has kind of been an ongoing character, and he's feuding maybe with Trey Miguel of the Rascals. I can't remember, and I don't know if that's all of it for sure. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I'm missing. So let me know in the comments if there's been some other stuff and what's kind of happened so I can kind of catch up. But there are some positives about this that have really, really been good for business, really for both sides, for NXT and for TNA. For NXT, it gives some of these developmental superstars an opportunity to get in the ring with some people that might be a little bit higher profile. It's kind of even, but at the same time, Jordynne Grace is a big star as far as TNA goes. And so for Roxanne Perez to be able to have a match against her when she may not have the opportunity to get in the ring with somebody like a Becky Lynch or a Rhea Ripley right now, that is helpful to build up Roxanne. It also is an opportunity for these developmental wrestlers to get in the ring with people that are more experienced. There's a lot of people in TNA that have been doing this for a long time. Frankie Kazarian, for example, has been wrestling for a very long time and has a lot of experience, can really help some of these younger superstars develop and can help them look good in some of their matches as they continue to grow in their skills. And I mean, there's also kind of the potential for WWE to scout potential new talent. I know that Jordynne Grace's contract with TNA ends in January, I believe, and there's a lot of rumors speculating right now that she's going to join the WWE and potentially be signed to NXT. She may go straight to the main roster. Who knows? But this does give WWE an opportunity to scout some talent. That is definitely a downside, though, for TNA. But for TNA, like I said, there's some positives here as well. NXT draws a larger audience than TNA wrestling on a weekly basis, and so it gives them, TNA, the opportunity to get more eyes on the product, more awareness of what's going on. Not just awareness of the brand or the company, but awareness of what's happening in those storylines, because if they start to cross over, it could be a to be continued on TNA and people are going to go and watch it. So that is more than just an advertisement, but it's actually a draw that could create some new TNA fans. And so for that, I get it. Very positive things for both brands, for both companies, as far as these crossovers go. Now, anything positive like this does not come without its drawbacks or without its negatives. On the TNA side, obviously there's the potential to lose some of your top talent. They come in and WWE offers them a big contract. There's the potential that they're going to walk once their contract is done with TNA. Now on the other side, if somebody leaves WWE, it might be a good fit for TNA. We've seen many stars already do that. Ash by Elegance, for example, is one of them. And now she's appearing back on WWE from time to time. So a lot of opportunity there as well for them to move back and forth. There's also, though, the potential for TNA to be overshadowed by NXT. I'm not necessarily talking about the individuals or these developmental wrestlers overshadowing their top stars, but the brand, the spectacle of it all. It could be easy for NXT and WWE to overshadow TNA even on their own shows. On the other side, for NXT, it sometimes can take away from the talent on the roster. I look at the title match with Roxanne Perez and Jordynne Grace at Battleground. There are other women on the NXT roster who would get a lot of developmental opportunity, a lot of TV time if they were in that feud instead of Jordynne Grace. Especially on the women's division, which is so deep that there are so many people lined up for shots, for storylines. It really takes away that opportunity, and so I don't know how big of a win it would need to be in order for that cost to make sense. To me, the other big negative is kind of similar to that, but this is really where the whole idea of this crossover was lost for me, where I felt like it's not worth it. And that is the potential to feel forced, these crossovers to feel forced, and then to kind of interfere with the current storylines in a way that takes away from it or slows it down. Let me tell you what I mean by that. This week on NXT, the main event was supposed to be a tag team match with Trick Williams and Javon Evans taking on the team of Shawn Spears and Ethan Page. Now, later in the evening after the match was set, Javon Evans was taken out backstage by returning Brooks Jensen. That means Trick needs to find a tag team partner. There were several hints throughout the night that it would be, and it did end up being Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry from TNA, who's done nothing more in NXT than spend 10 seconds in a battle royal. So he would have the match with Trick, and it was a good match. It was a fun match. Very interesting, very entertaining. The face team would get the win. Joe Hendry would get some spotlight, a lot of cheers. Very exciting stuff. However, my issue with it is Trick has no storyline reason to know Joe Hendry. He has no storyline reason why Joe Hendry would team with him, and he's got no storyline reason to even think about Joe Hendry. On the other side, there are several storyline reasons for him to think about other people that are in NXT. For example, one of those other people is Oro Mensah. Oro Mensah is in a deep feud with Ethan Page. Oro Mensah would jump at the chance to join this match, to team up with Trick Williams to take on these guys. So why not ask him? There's another option there too, though. Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs was there earlier in the night talking about being cleared finally, and guess why he was injured? Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears took him out. He was talking to Ava about wanting a match with Spears because Spears cost him a month of his career. He would have teamed up with Trick to get his hands on Spears. So in storyline, in kayfabe, there are two really, really solid options for people that would team with Trick before Joe Hendry would ever even come up in conversation. Joe Hendry's first appearance on NXT was kind of giving heel vibes. He got in Shawn Michaels' face and sort of just talked very arrogantly before the Battle Royal. He was playing up a heel, and now all of a sudden he's teaming with the face, playing as a face in a match that has no storyline like connection to him in any way, shape, or form. And so for me, those moments, those types of things, those types of segments and scenarios, they feel really, really forced. Look, I enjoyed watching Joe Hendry wrestle. I enjoyed all of the build up to it and all of that stuff that was around it. I thought it was really good. The problem is it doesn't make logical sense why Trick wouldn't team with Oro or Josh Briggs. So make it make sense. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe, he goes to Oro Mensah and Oro shuts him down because of their past history. Maybe he goes to Josh Briggs and Josh is like, no, I want a one-on-one and I got to make sure that Brooks doesn't do anything crazy again. Sure, in that case, okay, finally at the end of his rope, Trick teams with Joe Hendry. But that's not what happened. Nothing happened, and just all of a sudden, Joe Hendry is teaming with him. We don't see a conversation between him and Trick. We don't see a phone call where we could maybe decide that Trick was talking to Hendry. We see nothing. No storyline reason why Joe Hendry would show up. And so those moments, those problems where they feel really, really forced is where I'm kind of out on the NXT and TNA crossovers. So here's what I hope doesn't happen as we go forward. I really hope we don't see these more and more frequently. Now, we do have the 6-man tag with the Rascals and Gallus next week. I get that. I'm here for that. That as a storyline reason, it makes sense why these guys that used to team with Wes would show up on a night when it was heavily speculated that he was going to quit. I'm here. I love it. It makes sense, and it doesn't interfere with any long-term storytelling. So I don't want to see that continue, though. I don't want to see it continue to pick up and happen more and more often, unless it's for some sort of longer partnership that could turn into almost another brand for developmental WWE, but I don't see that happening. I would also be okay with this if it's for a shorter storyline purpose. Maybe we're going to get a Worlds Collide PLE, and then that's going to be the end of it. If so, then yeah, we need to make these more and more frequent. We need to build it up so that there are matches that can happen at this Worlds Collide PLE, and we need to have it, and then we need to be done. Maybe that's happening. I don't know. This is all I know right now, so I'm telling you where I'm at. What would make it a win, though, for me is, like I said, if it kind of became another brand of WWE. When all of these crossovers started, there was some speculation that WWE was going to purchase TNA Wrestling. And if they did, they could turn it into another developmental brand. We used to have two. We used to have NXT and NXT UK. Once they shut down NXT UK, they were talking about plans of making NXT Europe and then continuing to expand from there. Well, maybe they just do a second NXT brand. Another win for these TNA crossovers could be some of the main roster superstars making their way that way. And I'm not talking about the big ones. I'm talking about the ones that are currently sort of lost in the shuffle. We could use this partnership with TNA to allow some of those main roster superstars, like a Tegan Knox or somebody like that, to go over to TNA and kind of try to reinvent themselves a little bit. They could go there and try to pick up some steam for their character, maybe develop a new character, try some new things. I think that would be a huge win for this partnership with TNA. And then maybe they can do the same. They can send some of their people over to the main roster to really get some more eyes on the product. I don't know if WWE is ready to do that just yet. I think they're happy to keep it limited to NXT right now, and that makes sense from their side of things. But it would be awesome to see some of those main roster superstars head over there and kind of pick up some steam. It's way better than being in catering, right? At the end of the day, for TNA, this is all about getting eyes on their product, right? And for the WWE, I'm not really sure what their end game or what their big goal for this partnership is. My best guess is that it's actually more about scouting than anything else. That and the experience aspect of it, where they're bringing in experienced people to have really good matches with some of their developmental stars. I think there are enough main roster superstars who have a lot of experience that are sitting in catering right now. I think about Mi Chen going down to NXT for a little while along with the rest of the OC and really starting to kind of rework who they are. We rework their character a little bit, pick up some steam there. Now all of a sudden we see Mi Chen on SmackDown way more often. She's in a feud with Nia Jax right now. She's been able to kind of reinvent and reestablish herself by going to NXT. And I think that we can do that instead of bringing in outside people who have no storyline reason to be there. We also found out on this past week's episode that Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis have officially moved to NXT, not just an appearance, but they have come down, they have signed to NXT, and they're going to be part of that brand. This is great. They haven't been on TV, and I couldn't tell you how long. They haven't been on TV as a tag team at all. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in NXT and how they can continue to reestablish themselves and move forward. That's the way to do that, not bringing in a bunch of outsiders. All right, so final thoughts though on all of this. As a one-off here or there, special event, kind of special storyline situation, I'm all for it. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I think it shows that there's a bigger world out there besides WWE. But outside of that, I don't see a whole lot of long-term wins for this unless it is going to become another developmental brand and WWE is going to bring it into the company. I don't think it adds enough value, though, at the end of the day for what it costs in terms of NXT superstars developing and advancing storylines. I think it takes more away from those things than it does adds to it. But look, I'm willing to admit that I've been wrong a time or two before, and maybe I'm wrong about this. I just don't think that I am. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about these NXT TNA crossovers? Do you want it to continue? Do you want to see more? Do you want to see less? Do you think we're good right where we are at right now? I'm looking forward to connecting on your thoughts down there. But hey, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit. Don't forget, before you go, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload. If you know somebody else that's fired up about the NXT and TNA crossovers like I am, share this video with them, get their thoughts as well. Would love to chat about that there. And if you want to talk more about NXT and what's happening on that brand, check out this video right here. Thanks again for hanging out with me for a bit today on Rumble Rewind. We'll see you on the next one.